Hey guys, my name is Seven, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. Today's video is going to be based around a more serious topic. It's not going to be too dreadfully serious. It's still going to be pretty lighthearted, still pretty fun, but it's going to be about something very real. But I'm going to try and make it as entertaining as possible. So hopefully you guys will still enjoy it. I got some CSGO arms race going on in the background. Again, I apologize for the quality. One of these days after quarantine's lifted and I can go back to work, I'll be able to save up and afford a better rig, and I'll be able to give you guys some more better quality content. But for the time being, I'm just making do with what I got and trying my best with my poor little laptop. So hopefully you guys will still enjoy. It's not too terrible. But without further ado, let me start the story. So today, since there was nothing much to do, it was just me and my dad at home. So we were trying to pass the time. We were cleaning up, working on stuff, fixing things that needed to be fixed that we, haven't gotten to for a long time. One of those being the garage door. The garage door has been acting up. It's been acting silly. So me and him took some time to work on it together. After we got some work done, we ended up playing volleyball for a bit because we had a little bit extra time. It was a nice day out. The weather was nice. The sun was up. And we were like, you know what? We haven't been outside in a while, so we just went to the backyard and we were just tossing the ball back around. Just chopping it up. But the main point I wanted to get to in this story is what happened. The conversation we had afterwards. Afterwards it was hot, so we sat down outside, we got some drinks, we sat in the shade, then we started talking, and a little bit of context for my relationship I have with my dad. Me and him never saw eye to eye a lot when I was younger. There was even a point in time where we didn't really speak a lot. I didn't know what was going on in his life. He didn't know what was going on in my life, which is really bad, but we got over it, thankfully, fortunately. And now we're on pretty good terms, but I've kind of went most of my life not knowing my dad's background. Like, how did he end up in America? Because he is an immigrant legally. I want to clarify, he's a legal immigrant. But I never asked how he ended up in America and how he ended up in the state that we're in specifically now, North Carolina. And so I started asking him questions, and then he told me that he had a rough childhood. I knew he had a rough childhood, but I didn't know it was this bad. First thing he starts off with was the Vietnam War. My dad's from Vietnam, so he told me that he grew up during the wartime, and so he was, was it a refugee or whatever you call him? I'm sorry, I don't know what it's properly called, but he ran from war, basically. He told me he was 5, actually, when he was running from war, which is, it was really, at that moment, I kind of just stopped and thought about it. I was like, when I was 5, I was in kindergarten, freaking coloring books and shit, learning how to count to 10, not to 10, but learning how to count, learning how to do basic math. And he was running from war, which is really it makes you think, and that was the start of his life. He never had a childhood. Basically what I got from that. And then he told me that it wasn't by choice, it was a necessity if he wanted to live. He said his dad was away at war, and it was just him and his mom. They had to run from the countryside to the inner cities of Vietnam to be safe from the war and from the battle. And he told me that the shit he saw on the way from the countryside to the city was insane. He told me as a child he would see dead bodies just kind of laying about in the street, or just rubble, and just thousands and thousands of homeless people on the same journey as him, just trying to survive. And it's jarring. It's jarring. I didn't think that my dad would have such a rough childhood. but he did, and it puts life into perspective. That the whole reason why I'm telling you all this is that it made me think that I am lucky. We all are, or maybe not all of us, but most of us are. If you got a roof over your head, you got a bed to sleep in, you got 2 parents, food on the table, you're a lot luckier than most people, and it makes me more appreciative, that both my parents would go so far to take care of me, regardless of what they've been through and what might happen in the future. I'm very appreciative, and before I took everything for granted, and if I'm being completely honest, I still do. I admit it's something I need to work on, but it's very mind-opening to me, because I look back to when I was in my early high school years, maybe like 14, 15, something like that. I was a brat, man. I was a brat. There's no way around it. I was a jackass, dude. I hated my parents. I felt like they didn't understand me. And that's very cringy of me to say. A teenager not saying that their parents don't understand them. But back then, I really, genuinely, honestly felt like they didn't understand me. But it was true. If I'm being honest, it was true. They didn't understand me. The thing is that back then I didn't take responsibility for it. I put all the blame on my parents. But I realized that that's the wrong thing to do. That you have to take responsibility for, the misunderstanding. I realized that I had I had unbelievably high expectations. I thought that everyone should know how I'm feeling at every moment, and that if you do this one thing, of course I'm gonna feel mad or feel upset or feel sad. And I blamed everyone. If you didn't, take into account how I was feeling, then you're not a true friend, which was wrong. Totally wrong. But I realize now that you have to, in order for a relationship to truly prosper, each person needs to truly understand one another, and communication is very important. I'm very grateful that my dad was able to open up and tell me about his backstory, his origin story. I can't imagine, being so young and living through such traumatic events. But I'm very grateful for having both my parents here. I know I'm more fortunate than others. I know some people have divorced parents. But for anyone out there who may be struggling or going through the same things, I just ask that you take a step back, take a breather, and understand that even though, it may be your parents, your friends, or your siblings, whoever it might be, if you're at a disagreement with them, anything could happen. Life could be taken in an instant, and we don't know what's going to happen to us in the future. But I ask that you take a step back and understand them, and put aside your differences, and just, enjoy life while you can. Just be grateful, be appreciative. But anyways, I'm preaching. I'm rambling on for too long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, or if it was useful, or if it, brought some insight, or it was thoughtful, or anything like that. Leave a comment down below if you have any stories that you'd like me to hear, or if you relate to this story in any way. I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. If you enjoyed content like this, feel free to subscribe. I have more videos just like this. You can check out my channel. I have a couple more videos talking about topics like this, some of them more serious, some of them less serious. But anyways, I appreciate it if you liked, comment, and subscribe. But for now, that's all I have today. So I'll see you guys in the next video.